Before this video begins, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my channel members, who you can see on screen now. Become a member by hitting the join button and get your name here among other awards today. Hello there and welcome back to another edition of Silly Car Showdown. Today, now we are taking a look at the Porsche 911 Turbo 3.3. This car was requested by Nick Takahashi, and this one should be pretty interesting. It is, of course, one of the widowmaker Porsche 911s, which means there is a chance it could possibly kill me. Even more, because it is going to be using its standard engine with that turbocharger that kicks in pretty high up the rev range. Aside from that, this is not my favourite generation of Porsche 911, it has to be said. My favourite is probably the 993, which is the generation, not after this one, the next one over. There is a 993 in the game, the GT2, but we haven't seen that yet. This is our first Porsche 911, I believe. I might have to fact check that. It's not our first Porsche. I know we've had the Cayman, but I think it's our first 911. Anyways, it does pose an interesting dilemma, which we'll get to in a second, and that's the wide body kit. But first, engine swaps. Nick actually wants this ran on its stock engine. So there is a 4-litre flat 6 available first, which is in pretty much every Subaru. There's also the 3.6-litre flat 6 twin turbo, which I really want to have a play around with at some point. I believe that is the engine out of 424 horsepower. The GT3 RS. I believe that's what that's from. Anyways, there is the option of a wide body kit on this car. However, it is very, very ugly, so I don't think I'm going to go with it. In all honesty, it probably isn't required, because I don't think it's going to be making much power on its stock engine. And also, it gives me a chance to show off this stuff. There is actually a fair amount of body mods available for this car, and there is actually a conversion kit to turn this car into the 964, I believe it is. So, this is a 930, so yeah, you can convert this into a 964, which I think looks a lot better, so that's what we'll go with. So not going with that wide body kit does mean we do sacrifice tyre sizes, 245s in the front and 285s on the rear. In all honesty, that should be all this needs. The wide body kit does actually give quite a substantial upgrades. I believe the tyre sizes on that are like 335s. But again, at the end of the day, having too bigger tyres on a car just ends up weighing it down, which doesn't really help it all that much. A car that has an active sort of handling dynamic can still be fast, so that's the reason I've decided to opt to not go for that when it comes to this car. We are of course going to want the roll cage because it's quite an old car, and there we go. Right, I'm not expecting much power to come out of the stock engine. If I had to guess, somewhere in the region of about 500. But yeah, I'm honestly not expecting much more than that. Go for the valves. We're probably getting a sort of similar PI to what we got with the RX-8. S1874, 875, and we're going to round up at S1876. 642 horsepower, 582 foot-pound torque, 2,468 pounds of weight, 3.5 seconds 60, top speed of 202 miles per hour. Yeah, this one could be controversial just because I didn't go for that wide body kit. Again, it would have given us bigger tyres, but I don't foresee this car needing them particularly, although 642 horsepower, that's a little bit more than I was expecting it to make. So, maybe that'll be my sort of death sentence there, but I'll take that one on the chin if I am wrong. You gotta admit though, it's a fantastic looking machine without that hideous wide body kit. Yeah, I'm very interested to see how this one will do. So let's get out on track and find out. Here we are once again at our track, ready to lay down 5 laps with the Porsche 911 Turbo to see what time it can set. Our current leader is the God tier Lotus Elite GC1, that's the time of 131.226. The Porsche very unlikely to beat that. The Porsche, interestingly enough, this is the first car in a row that is running its stock engine. I really should have mitigated that one, I apologise, for sort of having 3 relatively low, actually 4th, no, yeah 4th, because the Elise GT1 was running its stock engine as well. I apologise. for all of the stock engine cars in a row. I will try to make sure to not do that again. That was a pure accident. I really shouldn't have done that because I've had the episodes planned out for like the last 4 weeks. So yeah, I decided to plan the last 4 weeks of programming out because, well, 5 weeks for you because I'm currently in the middle of a YouTube break as I record this. Actually, I will be joining 2 of these sessions because I think we're doing this again, I'd assume so anyways, on Thursday to catch up for the fact that we missed one recently. I can't remember which week it was, but we did miss a week. I think it was spring season actually we missed, so yeah, we need to do another one. Actually, we missed this. No, wait, hold on. Did we catch that already? We might have caught that already. We're doing this on Monday this week because I missed Thursday last week because I was dying, which you probably caught in the last few episodes. I say the last few, not the last few that you've just seen, but the few before this. Make sense? No? Okay. It didn't make sense to me either when I said it. Anyways, yeah, I'm not dying, so I can record these now. Hurrah. 149,744 on our first outing. I didn't really mention where this Porsche will end up. I don't think there's any point in me predicting cars at the moment, because they don't seem to go where I want, or where I have ideas for them to go. Anywhere from a 145 to a 147, probably for the Porsche. You know, stock engine, decent amount of power, so it's all there, it can probably do it. I will say, considering I decided not to go with the wide body kit, it seems like that was not a terrible idea, because it seems to not be handling too badly. So, good on me for having some intuition. What sort of straight line speed can we get going down here? Better than we did in the RX-8, and the Audi still a little bit off pace from what we'd consider normal, but there you go. Yeah, I'll have to check now, because I'm assuming the next episode was not a car on its stock engine, but I may have to have a quick look at that again, just to double check it. And then don't want too many stock engine cars in a row. Granted, the stock engines do have the most level of uniqueness to them, because of course there's no other car you can really swap a Audi RS2 engine into, but the problem with the stock engines is they're not massively interesting just because they don't make all that much in the way of power. As I've said before, usually the rule when it comes to tuning stock engines is they'll usually make around about double the horsepower they have from standard, so that's sort of what to expect when it comes to those. Ooh, a little bit of a weird sort of front end kink there, of course, as to be expected, because this track, as we have known previously, has many sort of weird ditters and deviations in it, which is a bit on the awkward side, but there you go. Ooh, that was a hell of a lot of sideways there. Slideways is best ways, naturally. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad driving car. 285's on the rear with, I think this makes 620-ish horsepower. 642, okay. You know, 642, 285 tyres can be done. And that's sort of a pretty standard tyre size for supercars and stuff like that, so, well, older supercars. I think newer ones are close to 305s or 315s, which again, if I went for the wide body kit, could have run those, but I decided to go against that, and it doesn't seem like that bad of an idea, in all honesty. Because again, the wide body kit is more assumedly meant for stuff like the 4 litre flat 6 and the 3.8 litre flat 6, which can make a lot more power. A lot more power. 147.363, not a bad time. from the 911 Turbo. A little bit of sideways there. As to be expected. I feel like I'm starting to lose my voice again, which is not good. Hopefully I don't, because that would be really very, very bad indeed now, wouldn't it? To be fair, I've been up for like a million hours today, so it kind of makes sense. It's been a long day. I'm surprised I'm just awake enough to record this, but there you go. Maybe I went for 5th gear a bit too early. It's always the issue. I think I've spoke about this before. I do slightly feel bad for sort of the cars I do later on, just because they do get shafted a little bit by the fact that, you know, usually I'm a bit tired by the time I get to the last car, because we do 6 in one day. So usually it's actually pretty obvious to see sort of where the pick-up and drop-off points are, if you will. So yeah, I do apologise for people who have their cars ran last. It's not a slight, it's someone has to pull the short end of the straw, and unfortunately it's you, or in this case Nick. But then again, I mean, this car was never going to do particularly well, so hopefully I'm doing this car justice for you, Nick. And if I'm not, then you've got plenty of other cars, because you're one of my best requesters, so thank you. Shout out to Nick Takahashi, and Asler, of course, as always, for starting these events, and indeed anyone who like requests on a daily basis. There's Lotus and Lotus, Angel, there's a couple of others as well. Thank you all very much for keeping this series alive, which is good because I like doing this series a lot. And yeah, you also all bring interesting ideas to the table. I like anyone that doesn't just sit there and go, hey, you should use one of the freewheelers. Okay. Like, nothing against them, obviously, but, you know. People requesting stuff, thank you. That's what I have. There you go. I'll say it correctly now. Requests make this series continue. Without your requests, this series will not continue. So, any requests you do give are very appreciated. And I guess we'll run this one until we run out of requests, or until the next Horizon game comes out, or until I get bored, and then we'll probably take a break for it for 6 months, and then I'll come back and be like, hey, remember this series? Which is usually what happens to series like this. But to be honest with you, I'm still quite enjoying Silly Car Showdown. It's still an infant in my mind as well, which is weird, because it's like been around for a while now, but it still feels new. I don't know why. Which is why I still have quite a bit of enthusiasm. But sort of as stuff gets older for me, I sort of lose enthusiasm. And then, usually for me, what happens is I get enthusiastic for stuff in like month periods, and then it'll just drop off again, and then restart and drop off, and yada yada yada. It's basically the way my brain works. It's not a good thing, but it's the way it works. And across the line, 146.842, which is about where I was expecting it to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't overpredict it. I said somewhere in the 145 to 147 range, and 146 falls right slap bang in the middle of that. So yeah, not a bad time for 911 Turbo. Not a bad car. It's sort of one of those where you can sort of phase your mind out, as you might notice I was doing. Yeah, good handling car. Surprising that it's actually down on straight line speed. I expect this one in particular to be a massive straight line speed god, considering, you know, it's got 642 horsepower, but apparently no, it's actually relatively tame when it comes to straight line speed, and the handling's not bad either. I have to say, it didn't make a widow out of me. Then again, there's no one to widow me at the moment, so oops. Anyways, a 146.842 will put this car into 30th place. It goes in between the Evo 9, which it is slightly off of the pace of, and it is about half a second quicker than the Lotus Carlton V10. It's quicker than the RX-8, TLR6, 240SX, Austin Taxi. Yeah, actually quite a bit quicker than the Cayman GTS as well, although again, that Cayman GTS I do feel really sorry for, because that car probably would be a hell of a lot quicker if it was around these days, but nevertheless, there you go. thank you all very much for watching this edition of Silly Car Showdown. I do hope you've enjoyed. As always, if you'd like to request cars for the series, you can do so down below in the comment section. Alternatively, if you go into the description, you can join my Discord, which is what I prefer you to do, because I'm lonely in there. I'm not really, but there you go. And also, you can request your cars in the request chat on there, which is the best place to do it. I can keep track of them. I can tell you when I've ran one of your cars, so you can request another car, and so on and so forth. And yeah, it's good. It works. Join that if you'd like. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.